For anyone who does more serious adult forms of magic, astrologically speaking, we have contracts that have been around for around 14 years that before the end of January 2026 is going to be closing out. Neptune is moving into Aries, starting a completely new era, changing what is ruling Saturn in Pisces for a time before Saturn moves into Aries, okay? Saturn also, right now, ruling over Pluto and Aquarius. Pluto having to do with our ancestral contract. Ancestral magic is very nuanced. Imagine, okay? Lots of layers. Think about the themes in your life that are coming to a close right now, right? Okay, we about a month and a half for those themes to come to a complete and total close. Ancestral themes, spiritual crossings with other practitioners in an adult fashion and form. Again, very nuanced. Pluto rules the underworld. Pisces also, if we're talking about the relationship between Scorpio and Pisces, Scorpio is the death and the rebirth, and Pisces is all the stuff in the middle, which is what Neptune rules over. So the reason that these ancestral contracts are coming to a close, not only astrologically, but like energetically, is because soon new types of the contracts are going to be processed in a different way, which means some contracts are not going to be able to exist anymore. Some contracts have to be processed in the Piscean energy, where things are a little bit symbolic. There's sacrifices going on. It's the very end of things. It's the water energy, intuition, the dreams, the ocean, the sights of things, right? The eyes. There's a lot of different layers to Pisces stuff, right? But there's some contracts that can only really be signed and processed in Piscean energy. So the contracts that we have that are being processed through Piscean energy, ancestral contracts that we have, they're not going to be able to come with us once Neptune and Saturn enter into Aries. Oh boy, okay. The new contracts that are coming in are going to be prioritized, boundaries, successes, victories. It's also going to be youthful. There's going to be fire starter energy to the very beginning of things, the very beginning of an era, okay? Also the very beginning of like multiple generations of an era. There are things that are going to be born out of this coming era because of the Saturn and Neptune crossover at the beginning of Aries that we're not going to be able to predict, and they're going to last in the stories for a very, very long time. Especially with the way that spirit is moving and the spiritualists and the practitioners. It's a lot. Okay, we're going to talk about that maybe another time, but coming back into the ancestral contracts of things. Check out the house that Pisces is in your chart. Ancestral contracts are coming to a close. Blockages that have been in your way. Things that do not allow you to do what you want to do. Patterns that for whatever reason keep showing up in that area of your life. Yeah, you're about to be finished. If you notice the themes that are happening in your life right now, relate them to that area of your life, the house that Pisces is in. You can look at your Pisces placements also, and looking like at the space of Pisces, the house is going to be like the big main focus. Then when we get Neptune and Saturn in Aries, Neptune is January 26th, and then February 14th is Saturn. When those transitions happen, and we have an eclipse February 17th in Aquarius, partially ruled by the Saturn in Aries. We're going to talk more about that nuance at another time, and we're going to move on. Okay. Those ancestral contracts in the house that Aries is in, now there's going to be some restriction. We have to do things a certain way. We have to look at things a certain way. We have to have pattern and order and structure in a certain way because there are new contracts, there's new exchanges, new people, new opportunity, new losses, new victory, new strategy. Coming back to the exchange of things, okay, it's going to bring up new patterns for us ancestrally on an individual level, right? Also, because Saturn in Aries is ruling over the collective Aquarian energy, we're going to see the ancestral contracts of how this is like very collective stuff and not as personal, but still going to be affecting us on a personal level, right? We're going to see how the collective ancestral contracts are changing. That is going to be super weird. That is going to be also very unpredictable because it's Aquarius and it's chaos. And that eclipse, that's kind of crazy. We have Uranus retrograde still, I'm pretty sure. No, just kidding. It's already direct. Never mind. It goes direct February 4th, and it's going direct in Taurus. It will not be in Gemini yet, but still. So the unpredictability is going to get like really clear and prophesized around those ancestral contracts collectively changing in the eclipse in Aquarius on February 17th. Those prophecies are going to start to make more sense around that February 4th time when Uranus turns around for anybody who cares and pays attention to that kind of stuff, okay? Watch the news. Look at the collective trends. That's going to be that area. But again, going back to the ancestral contracts, we have a lot changing. This is also going to be like spiritual ancestral contracts. It's Neptune. That's what it is. So if you're feeling the shifts ancestrally, especially for people who, like, I know for myself, like, I'm a first generation ancestral practitioner altar wise, right? I come from gifted people. I come from spiritualists. I come from people who were practicing things. But in terms of like an ancestral altar, I'm the first person in a long time to do that. So for people who have picked that up in this era of Neptune and Pisces, because I know there's a lot of us, okay? Generally speaking, who maybe come from people who have gifts, but don't come from people who have had that practice, at least not for a while. So if you have picked that up and you have decided you're gonna alter those contracts already, okay, get ready, because there's about to be a whole new era of ancestral relation in the coming several months. And right now, before we get to the end of January, we are wrapping up, closing off the story. And also, we get to kind of peek ahead. What's coming up? What's different? What's new? But we do have to still go through the endings, so don't get too like overexcited or yes, be excited about it. We do have a new era coming in. Also, though, make sure that you keep grounded. Saturn is definitely always a reality check, because that's just what Saturn is, okay? And it's a sign of illusion, so be super grounded in reality. Hello. And we're about to have a whole change. So if you notice that there's spiritual contracts ancestrally that you're wrapping up right now, relax about it. There's going to be some new stuff coming in after February 4th and before February 17th. Really pay attention to prophecy stuff that could be coming through that is important for you when it comes to ancestral contracts and what they are doing within the new stuff, the changes that are coming in. But for now, focus on the endings, okay? So there's some time frames to look at. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Keep up the brew you do. I will too. I'm going to keep a lookout for this also, because this feels nuanced and very personal, okay? So again, you could look at the collective stuff and check out your Pisces house and your Aries house, relate as necessary. If you want to get super into the indirect energies, you can also look at where your Neptune is, what it's ruled by, okay, for the Pisces stuff. And then for the Aries stuff, look at where your Mars is and what it's ruled by. If you go back to the sign ruler, you're going to see what that house structure is rooted in. It's a very powerful seed work, and it tells you a lot. But I think that's it for this one. Take care of yourself out there. A lot is changing. Big winds of fate are coming in. Aquarius eclipse on the horizon. So I'll talk to you soon. Also true.